My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content.
All right, guys, welcome to Property Profits Podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Kaminsky, filling in for Dave DeBow. And have you ever wondered how a real estate agent turned investor flipped a staggering 200 homes in just 1 year across 3 different markets? Today, my guest, the millionaire real estate mogul, Don'nell Greer, joins us to unravel the secrets behind his extraordinary success. Don't miss out on the insights and strategies he shares to thrive in the dynamic world of real estate. Welcome to the show, Don'nell. Great to have you here.
Great to be here, Bryce. Glad for the opportunity, or grateful for the opportunity for sure. It's nice to have accomplished or had these accomplishments and now kind of being highlighted, or now they're being highlighted because I'm one that I just like to stay in the background. I don't like the spotlight, but I mean, I've been a few
You
people
can't
have
do
convinced
200.
me.
You can't do 200 houses and expect to be standing in the background. Someone's going to be like, hey, who's that guy whose name's showing up on prop stream every day? Like, it's showing
Yeah,
up,
investor
showing
left.
up.
Yeah.
Better call him up. I bet the wholesalers were catching on to it and be like, oh, I should call this guy and send
Oh
some
man,
stuff.
yeah.
So
The amount of calls, text messages I was getting, it was it's still probably about 6 a day.
yeah, they're like, this guy's buying everything, so we should send him everything. So breakdown, for people listening, 200 might seem, like something they could probably never do, but it is like we were talking about before the show. How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? So it's like
Hmm.
10 a month, 10 months, that's 100.
Yep.
So 15 to 20 properties a month. And then you broke it down even further. You'd said, what was it per week?
Well, we had actually brought on a coaching company or business coach
Mhm.
to where we were having meetings that allowed us to break down like how many offers we were putting out, how many deals we needed to do to achieve this like crazy goal that we were accomplishing. And I did want to note, I mean, granted, this was in a momentum market, which that was when everybody was buying. So I feel like nobody could miss. Like you just could not miss to like say like you had
Yeah,
to be extreme.
everybody's a
You had to
genius in
try
an
to
up
miss.
market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
it was about 3 to 4 a week is essentially what we were looking into to bite off of that elephant each week.
is this like remote markets, like across the country, or is this like you're in Dallas and there's a couple more, or how did that look for the 3 markets? Because people have challenges with just one. How are you managing 3 different markets?
Connections, relationships, having conversations and just finding out what others were doing,
Mhm.
and then partnering and seeing how we could add value to each other. The other big thing is I was always against coaching and masterminds because I'm like, why are we paying?
Mhm.
Why would you pay $25,000 for
Someone to
to
tell
be in
you
a
what to
room with the
do.
same
Yeah.
people? And I didn't understand it. Like that was a mental block. I think that was just a growing up, like we didn't hear anything about stuff like this. Like, did you went outside and you shot the basketball until you could
Yeah, there
consistently
was no
shoot it
hiring
or
a
make it?
shooting coach. Yeah.
Yeah, like there was no coaches, there was no agility coach. Like it was like, yeah, you force yourself to get better. And so like I attribute a lot of that to masterminds as well. I was a part of Wealthy Investor now, which is Ryan Pineda's group.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It had a different name at the time, but this is the new one that he's transitioned to. And then the other one was Collective Genius, CG,
Yeah. Yeah.
was another huge one. So those are the two that I got immediate direct impacts from. And then my last one that I've joined is Well Club. Shout out to Paul Sparks. That's just kind of changed the dynamic of how I see what I'm actually like aiming to accomplish. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, masterminds, relationships, and a little bit of Jesus, or a lot of bit of Jesus up in there,
Yeah, why not?
to to uh to get where this unattainable goal, uh that's how it was made attainable. So anyway.
So it makes you kind of think, like, anytime because I'm a huge proponent of like coaching and mentoring, and it makes you look back at, like, let's say you wanted to be a college basketball player, a college football player, or if you're from Canada, like uh, an NHL player, like a hockey
Yeah.
player. You could get one-on-one training for like your kid. Let's say your kid's like 7. You could like break the mold and hire mentors for everything in your life to break down these things that could take 10 years. Like, there's no stopping someone from going out and just shooting the basketball and
Yep.
learning how to shoot. Now, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily learning like the proper way to shoot, but they're going to get better.
Yep.
But it's like, how dedicated are they to their form and things like that? Like, the things that might be holding you back, you can't even see. And so then when you get the mentorship, what I really like about it is you don't have to learn everything right away. They're like, okay, this week, just do this.
Yeah,
Stop thinking
everybody
about
tries to bite
everything
off too
else.
much.
And
Yeah.
then the next week, just do that. And then it'll build up. And then we're doing 200 deals a year. So what market were you playing in at the time?
Dallas Fort Worth. And then shortly after that, we dabbled into St. Louis and then Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina.
All at the
And then
same time?
yeah, yeah, basically. And now we're looking into Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee to be
Mm-hmm.
exact. So
Mm-hmm.
um th- looking in more so the Airbnb, but we found that Nashville is has tightened restrictions on Airbnb.
Yeah,
So,
just recently. Yeah.
yeah, because I've been traveling there because that's where my wife's family's from, and
Mm-hmm.
as our families are growing, hmm, by default, I'm looking at real estate and trying to figure out, all right, should we buy land? Should we buy a house? Should we buy like where? How do all of us fit? Because right now we're busting out of the seams of the houses that we're currently staying at when we do
Mm-hmm.
go visit. So. Um, but yeah, I was primarily in the Dallas Fort Worth market. So it was
Awesome.
anything
Awesome
there,
market.
like it was, yeah, just and again, that just goes back to knowing your market and knowing your area. And that's where being a real estate agent at the beginning was helpful for me transitioning to full-time agent or full-time investor.
Did you have people in the real estate agency say, "Oh no, you should just, keep selling houses"?
So I had asked one of my brokers, I was like, man, I keep saying about people getting wealthy in real estate. Like
Mm-hmm.
how would I go about doing that? And their idea was, yeah, you just go buy a rental house that is not that badly messed up
Yeah,
or
yeah, it needs
needs
work.
much. No, he actually said it doesn't need much work at all. And so he's like, yeah, you go to this traditional bank, you apply, you put 20% down, and yeah, now you're a real estate investor.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Uh, and I'm looking around like doing the math. Oh no.
Yeah, it's only
Can
going
you
to be
still hear
like,
me?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. My phone started going off. Anyway, I'm doing the math and I'm like, man, I don't have $40,000 to just pitch around for like
Mm-hmm,
once a year, twice a year, whatever. And so that's when I started looking into bigger pockets and Facebook groups in the
mm-hmm.
area and just trying to figure out like how are these people doing it? Because surely there's some shortcut to obtaining X amount of
Scale.
rentals
Yeah,
before
scale.
like before I die.
Yeah,
And
one a year for
so
10 years, you could have 10.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
and I was like, there's got to be a better way. In which that's where I found the bird strategy, and then executed it that way. Um, and like, not to mention or just to bring it up, just a little background. I was more so in a dead end job, like I had reached the ceiling. And I was just like, there's got to be a better way than this. And then I got
Mm-hmm,
into being an agent, or obviously went through my courses, got my license and then signed on with Century 21. Uh, and the main reason why I did that because I was at my dead end job. and my mentor at the time owned a Century 21. And I went down and visited him one weekend, and I was like, "Man, how much are you going like how much are you going to make for this month?" And he basically showed me. Uh, and it was like 45, $50,000 for that month. And I'm
Hmm.
like, all right, I'm sold. I'm going back to my office in Dallas, and I am signing up to be an agent, and I'm figuring this thing out. And the rest is history from there.
So did you do a lot of real estate transactions as an agent, or did you just move right into investing after you started seeing the
So
numbers?
I did I would say three hard years in being an agent. Uh the first year I was like, this is for the birds. Like whose idea is it to be a real estate? Because I hate this so much.
Yeah, it's
I
tough.
was getting like screwed left and right by sellers and buyers. And obviously, yeah, you work with the buyers and they want to look at 72 houses, and
Buy
then they
none.
want to tell you like, oh, we actually want to just rent. We don't even want to buy this year.
Yeah, we're not actually qualified. That pre-qualification thing expired before we even called you. But we told you we were pre-qualified. So,
That, or it's like, well, I found out my cousin was an agent, so I went with them.
oh
Or
yeah, at the last minute, yeah, I wrote the offer with somebody else.
or yeah, like with the new bills, like, oh, we were driving by this new neighborhood and we didn't know we could use an agent. And the builder said that they had a great deal for us, so that's what we went with.
And yeah, the
So
agent that's sitting in the office in the show home, just collecting money. Those guys have it nice.
oh man, I was trying to get into those so quickly, and I could not get there. I did get in with one builder, a small time builder, and that's kind of where I built my book of business to where I was doing about 40 houses a year. It was about 40 or I think it was about 40 or I think 50 was my max
Mhm.
in a year in that short 3 year span. But I've still have like contacts from those open houses that I held for that particular builder. And that's why one of a big thing that I do like to hit on with agents who want to like invest is like everybody is a potential like contact, and that person can be you can utilize them for private money or referrals for people that are going through situations like divorce or death in the family or something like that,
Mhm.
because that could be your first lead to get into break into being your actual real estate investor. So,
Mhm.
yeah, like that. I get a few or agents that come ask questions, and it's just like, man, the biggest thing that I did was I was doing open houses and I door knocked, which I know a lot of people don't door knock anymore, but
Well,
uh,
after COVID, it was kind of like I even remember doing a little bit of like flyering in late 2020, early 2021. And people were like, "Why are you putting mail in my mailbox? Don't you know it's a pandemic?" I'm like, "Do you say that to the postman when he comes here? Like, it's just a letter, man. If you don't like it, don't touch it.
yeah,
Like,
just leave it alone.
yeah, leave it alone. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like that." So, um, to do 200 means systems. It means probably
Oh
doing the
man,
same
same
looking
action.
house over and over and over again and paint colors and faucets. Like, how did you navigate the design that I guess, did you do it like one off? Because that would have been a lot of work. You must have been rolling out a design on these things.
Yeah, so I had our first flip. We I connected with a designer. Shout out to Amy Guess. She's pretty big out here in Dallas. She did a design board for us,
Hmm.
and so it laid out because I was like, I can pick out some cheap flooring or something that looks good to
Yeah, but
me,
you need
but
that mood board, right? And the mood board with like,
so
because
yeah,
guys, we just pick whatever.
yeah, I'm like, well, that looks like it goes and that goes, and let's see what happens. Um, anyway, no, she actually put it all together. She's like, well, here's the flooring that you need. Here's the paint colors that go with this flooring. Like, and it was extremely beneficial utilizing her because now we're understanding what trends are happening for this particular year. And
Hmm.
here's like where you can get a little like crazier, like off the wall to potentially like set yourself apart from the house across the street.
Hmm.
And so anyway, yeah, we typically were trying to keep, I think back then it was agreeable grays, uh,
Mm-hmm.
were the colors that everybody was using. So we were using that, and we basically had the same flooring from Home Depot, which we actually transitioned to doing flooring decor now. Um, and so a lot of it was uniform from the paint colors, the flooring, the tile, and then the countertops, which I think we were probably one of the few that was utilizing quartz instead of granite. And we just
Mm-hmm.
did a white quartz because it was just
It
clean
looks
and it
great.
was crisp. Yeah. Uh, and I think a lot of people just fell in love with that versus like the granite with all the different speckles and stuff that you see in the granite. And then not to mention like every third house in the neighborhood had that. So
Yeah.
yeah, like that was more so our systems. We had like a storage building and whatnot. And then again, going back to it was a momentum market. So not only were flipping, but we were also selling to like we go on MLS and just sell it as is, or we
Mm-hmm.
sell it to a hedge fund or yeah, oh, everybody was buying back then. So it was like you just couldn't miss if you said you had a house for sale.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of it came down to just copy paste and repeat. My eyes were definitely uh tired at the end of the day because I was starting 6 a.m. looking at MLS, seeing like what deals are out there, hitting up contacts and seeing, hey, do y'all have any deals? Uh, and by like 5 p.m., 6 p.m., I'm like exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
But in the moment, like I felt like I was first starting out, it felt like this is extremely boring. I hate this. I don't want to do this. It's like that. I think if there's a meme or there's a picture out there, illustration to where you start, you're like the most optimistic of like starting
Mm-hmm.
something new, and then like
It's
an
a valley
obstacle
of
happens,
despair.
and
It goes up.
then
And then most people quit on the bottom. They're like,
yeah,
it's not working. This is boring. This is one of what I thought. And then the people who actually make it out of that and just
yeah, like
once you
that's
get
where it
into
was. It
that
was
last
like
spot.
you hit you hit like a few ceilings, and it's like, man, I don't know how to do it because you'll like I'll be killing it one week, and I still get that killing it one week. The next week, I'm like what am I doing? Like, why am I even an investor anymore? Like, what
Mm-hmm.
what is this? So no, anyway, yeah, I ran into that pretty frequently, and then you throw in just like life, and obviously you want to take a break, and
No breaks for
uh,
you.
no, it
No
was,
breaks at 200 deals a year. You can sleep when you're
which
dead.
yeah, no, that's exactly what the pace I was running at because I think where it finally hit for me was, hey D, like this is what we're on track for. And I was like,
Hmm.
what? I just had my head down, focused, like I just want to do something that nobody in my family has done, nobody that I personally know has done. And so yeah, that's kind of what was the driving force, and not to mention like the lifestyle and the wife was loving like how she was living. So like
Yeah,
yeah, you got you
that's the
got to
tag.
keep all of that
The
up, you
wife
know?
was loving how she was living. There it
Yeah.
is.
Oh yeah. She is. Yeah. We went on a few vacations. Well, that was the year we got married, and so we went to Greece as our honeymoon, Santorini. Um, and then like we also went to took the kids to Disney World. So yeah, like it
And they
was.
also like to be able to like not have to think about going to get their nails done and their hair done. And maybe now they're on like lash extensions and
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
you
She
got
was
like a $500 a month bill on like hair and etc. And I always just looked at it like, okay, I probably have like a $500 like coffee budget because of all the work that I'm doing. Like when I was in the flip pipeline, I was like, okay, you got your $500 on this, and I'm gonna spend $500 over here, and we can both like the way we're living, you know?
yeah,
So
like it. Yeah.
what are you working on now?
So
And
what I'm
what are some challenges that you're running into with the changing tides?
so what I'm working on now is we're still doing flips.
Mm-hmm.
We're still buying low, obviously selling high. That's the name of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm transitioning more into development. So I've partnered with a few cities out here to potentially bring some like we're in Crowley, we're doing two townhome, or I'm sorry, 16 sets of 16 townhomes in the city.
Mm,
They're basically going to give us the land for free. And the promise is, hey, you got to make this thing look nice.
mm-hmm.
Um, and so we're doing that in Crowley. We're doing some other things in Burleson. Um, and that is where I think ultimately want to be in, of seeing something like scrap blank canvas and now like actually being built up to where it's being included into like a city's plans or whatnot. So that is what I've ultimately have. I think that's always been on the radar. And now it's nice to see that it's actually happening. It's still like trying to pinch myself to make sure like this is for real.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
Well, the
so
other
yeah,
thing
that's
about development, which is kind of nice when you're dealing with flipping all the time, it's always like something slightly not the same. But then when you get into development, you're like, that one again, that one again on the same lot, a
yep.
different lot. Okay, that one again. And you know what you're going to get. It turns into a commodity, whereas like flipping is like, it's kind of like if you're like used cars, like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's got a
100%.
few more miles. Yeah, it's not quite the rims that you wanted, but you know what?
Yeah,
I
no.
cleaned it real nice, touched up the paint, new tires, oil change. It's a good used car. Do you want to buy it?
Yeah, no, it's not to say boring, because at some like this is what flipping is how I got to where I am. But at
Mm,
the same time, it's like dealing and managing contractors. I'm like over it,
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's always one thing after another, or it's like, hey guys, they're telling me that they'll be done Friday. I come check the job site Friday, and it's like
Nobody's there.
a door handle's missing, nobody's here. There's paint all over the windows. I'm like, guys, did we not see? I,
Paint
did
all
we
over
not
the
see
new
like some of this?
floor,
Yeah, I'm just like,
paint
come
all
on
over
now.
everything on the doorknobs
Yeah,
that
and it's like
and
this
some are
isn't even our
missing.
first
Yeah.
rodeo. Yeah, like, and so which is obviously there'll be obstacles and hurdles in the new development space, but it's just something new and it's exciting is more so what I'm looking into. So yeah, like that's what we're working on. Hopefully getting just more commercial stuff, and hopefully maybe more Airbnbs across the country. Because me and my family stayed in one as of last week for our family planning, and they charged us a pretty penny. But I'm just looking at the setup of how they had it, and it was lake house, and that
Mm.
just kind of opened my eyes to where it's like, instead of flipping, this is something we can hold on to and have
It's
a
like both,
management company
right?
stand. Yeah, it's like,
It's
and
like
then at
higher
the same
cash.
time, yeah, and at the same time, me and my wife just love the hospitality aspect of it. Um, and so that's some like other things that we're engaging in, and obviously cities are wanting to make, the only way you can have Airbnb is if it's in a commercial, if it's zone commercial. And so where my head is like, yeah, that's the next best play for us. So
Hmm.
yeah, not to say that it's gonna be all ice cream with sprinkles and cherries on top, but I'm excited to unpack and see what all that looks like.
Try something new. So, what are
Yep.
you doing to fund your deals these days?
Raising capital. That's something that is extremely uncomfortable. Asking people for money. But I was talking with somebody, and they were telling how they presented it to me was, you're really doing them a favor, in the sense of you're giving them a
You're the
return.
access, right?
Yeah, and like it's people that want to be in real estate and they don't know how to get in. And so it's like, well, if you give me X, well, I could basically make this as passive as you've wanted to, but and you can kind of say that you're in real estate.
Hmm.
And then you've got the others that like they just
Don't care
don't
at all.
want to. Yeah, exactly.
They want their
Um,
10% or
yeah.
whatever.
Which again, like people are like, you can't make that in a CD or a savings account, but
No.
I mean, you can make it in real estate by using other people's money is what we are big on. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which again, like I'm trying to get my in-laws and my family to understand like that ETF or that fund that y'all have in y'all's retirement, you can actually pull it out and have a greater return and a more consistent return. But again, like I feel like nobody's talks about that or nobody teaches that,
Well, it's
and
hard
you
with
just don't have access
family.
to that.
Well, it's hard with family because, my mentor early on, he said to me, he's like, you're going to have the most trouble with family because they want to help you, but they also know that if they don't give you their money, that you might not go and make a mistake. So instead of like
Hmm,
lending it to you, they feel like they're protecting you by not
hmm.
lending with you, even though
Yeah.
you have this track record and you've done all this stuff. Still, your family will say, if I don't give him the resources to go to war, then he can't die. And so that's the whole mentality behind family. Friends, yeah, friends are
Interesting.
friends. They're far enough away that they're going to sue you and they're in. But it's the people that are so close that
Yeah, I
they
can see
don't
that.
they don't want to deal with it if it doesn't go right. And
Yep.
so if they don't invest, then you can't hurt yourself and they protect you. It's this weird like circle. So I've always found that capital typically comes from people that are close enough to know, like, and trust you, but just
Yep.
far enough away that they'll still sue you if it goes sideways. So, um, I got one more
That's good.
question for you. It's the secret sauce question. What do you think, your secret sauce is? What comes easy to you that other people might find difficult to do?
Consistency. Um,
That's real estate right there in one word,
it's
consistency.
yeah, I mean, it's literally doing that same task that it's almost it's borderline of insanity of
Hmm.
doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. But it's like,
Well, you do get a
yeah,
different result if you're consistent. I can't remember what the guy's name, but he's talking, might be David Goddins or Gobbins or
yeah,
whatever his name
Goggins,
is.
yeah,
He
yeah,
says something along the lines that discipline begins when motivation ends. And then that's right where like you got to stay
yep,
consistent
exactly.
because like as soon as you're not motivated, you're like, I'm not doing my MLS at 6 a.m. I'm gonna stay in bed till 7, 8.
Yep,
Maybe I'll take a day off.
yep. Oh yeah,
Maybe I'll take the rest of the week off. I'm doing enough stuff.
that's when
And
those
then
excuses
suddenly
kick
the
in.
pipeline is done. You
Yep,
crashed your pipeline.
yep.
So if people want to connect with you, they want to be part of these projects that you're putting together to kind of change the face of these neighborhoods. How do they connect with you? What should they do? How do they find you?
All my social media handles are the Duke of Real Estates. So, that's how you contact me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok I mean, I've heard TikTok is the new Google. So, uh,
Yeah, it's
if
certainly emerging. I'm not personally in there, but there are people making good connections um and videos of them dancing. So if you're about that, you can do that too and
that's probably another
tweak the
reason why,
algorithm a bit, like just go
yeah,
on there, dance a little bit, and then at the end say, and I'm raising money too. So hit me up.
that's another reason why I was like, I can't be an agent anymore because this is what agents are doing is they're making dance videos, and I don't want to do that.
I
So,
like the ones. Have you seen the new real estate agent TikTok where they have the open house sign and the cars driving by, and then suddenly they're in the back of the car? They're like, "Hey, do you want to write an offer?" Like the overzealous real
oh
estate
man, that's
agent.
good. Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do just to get that household for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, social media handles the Duke of Real Estates with the S at the end. Uh Email address is Donnell DONNELLGB at Gmail. Or you can just surely Google the name and it should be able to access or put my contact information out there somewhere. So
Yeah, I'm sure it's
uh
I'm sure it's around. If the wholesalers can find you, I'm sure the rest of us can. I really appreciate you stopping by and letting the audience here know that, yeah, 200 in a year, you can do it, but this is what it takes. So if you're wanting to do that, rewind to the top and
Yep.
listen to it all again. And the key word of the day, consistency.
That's it. That's it. I tell my boys that all the time. If they want to
There
be
you
great
go.
at something, it's got to be consistent.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you stopping by. And until next time, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Thanks, Bryce.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.